Hello there. Welcome. It is such a pleasure to be virtually here today at the Global Future Mobility. My name is Tamy Ribeiro, and I'm the Chief Mobility Evangelist and Head of Partnerships of Wunder Mobility. That means that today I'm here to talk about mobility, but you can also contact me if you're looking for a mobility software provider afterwards. Mobility became my passion. 4 years ago, I joined Wunder, and it was my first experience in the area. And what is fantastic about working with mobility is that a lot can happen in this time. In this area, looking back 4 years is like going back to the days of the Roman Empire, right? In a world where new ecosystems are emerging at a rapid pace, key industry stakeholders can no longer stick to the traditional playbook. Today, we are going to try to understand what is happening in the industry and what is the impact of shared mobility service on car ownership. Are you ready? So let's go. The world population is growing rapidly, and the majority of people now live in cities. Some cities around the world are expected to double in size in the next 10 years. And the prediction for the coming years for cities is exciting, but not. The proportion of the global population living in urban areas has risen from half in 2000 to 57% now. And it's predicted to reach 70% by 2050. That means that today we have 4.2 billion people huddled together to enjoy all the pleasures that big cities can provide. And that directly affects the way we move from A to B. As population continues to grow, new forms of mobility are critical to support tomorrow's population and economic activity. Today's mobility systems suffer from congestion, inefficiency, accidents, and high price, but it's also under transformation and being constantly disrupted. Some business models are emerging, while others are converging, and some are disappearing completely. The fact that the winners of this game are likely to be those that are able to adapt their business models and operating models while securing the right partnerships. And it's a great market to be at. The global mobility on demand, for example, is set to double in value from the current $100 billion to over $200 billion by 2024. The existing urban infrastructure cannot support this constant increase in vehicles on the road. Congestion is already close to unbearable in many cities and can cost as much as 2 to 4% of national GDP. Each car occupies 150 square meters of urban land, and congestion costs to the EU economy alone 100 billion euros annually. Crazy, right? And the worst consequences are those that our eyes cannot see. Transport creates emissions of CO2, causing serious public health concerns. The World Health Organization, for example, estimated in 2014 that 7 million premature deaths were related to air pollution, and a significant share is the result of urban transit. Also, building a car produced around 5 tons of CO2 equivalent emissions. Over the past decades, traffic congestion has continued to increase globally, with nearly 75% of the cities having increased or stable congestion levels between 2017 and 2018. That means that 3 in every 4 cities in the world lost control. Even being clear that actions to reduce traffic must have been taken to improve citizens' lives and local economy, only a quarter of cities worldwide could effectively implement ways to retain or reduce it. This is scary, right? And according to INRIX, congestion costed $305 billion in 2017 to the US alone. Have you ever stopped to think about the global impact of it? When it comes to transportation and infrastructure, we have one common agreement. It is not possible to keep it how it is today. But is there a solution? Yes, here are the great news. We can share. As more of the world's cities become congested and polluted, new business models and technologies are emerging to solve the mobility challenge, and cities and citizens worldwide can benefit from it and help to hold these metrics. If the right stakeholders get together and provide viable alternatives to individual car ownership, the chances of changing this scenario are real. But why share? One study by UC Davis indicates the global car fleet could be reduced by a third if sharing schemes were widely adopted. Another one in Lisbon shows that just 10% of the vehicles could maintain the same level of mobility if shared. But why it is not happening all around yet? That's simple. Having a behavioral change is fundamental, and it will only happen when the right stakeholders get together in order to make it happen. This behavioral change is possible, but only if the right solutions are in place. It is unquestionable that there is a trend going on with young generations that have had access to new mobility service. When you look at Generation Z, over half of the generation don't see a need to own a car. And this is already impacting the future of mobility. Actually, this is impacting the present. Or do you think that this is a coincidence? Not really, right? Now let's take a look at the rise of ride-sharing platforms. With so many options to move from A to B without a private car, why would the younger generations invest in a private vehicle? According to AAA, it costs around $500,000 to own a car over a lifetime. And we are not talking about a luxury car. We are talking about an average car. How could this investment remain justifiable? Not to mention the echoing effect of millennials' greener outlook. Sustainable living is not only a new trend, it is a fashion statement that is becoming ingrained in younger generations. This shift is not probable, it is inevitable. And the speed of it will be defined by region according to the offers and cooperations between authorities, new mobility operators, and public transportation providers. But why is this cooperation so important? It is simple. Without it, it is impossible to understand commuters' patterns and offer the right mobility solutions, providing a good experience that will allow them to understand the benefits of leaving their cars at home. By the time that the right mobility solutions are available, there is an immediate impact on drivers' behavior. And that's when the magic happens and new mobility services start to influence the way how people move from A to B, and consequently impact the decision to own or not a private car. Let's talk about some examples of what can happen when the right mobility service are in place. Some time ago, Uber London found that 28% of those who use it to own a car no longer do so because they can use alternatives. And 1 in 5 Londoners are less likely to buy a car in the future because of new mobility service. In another research, the University of California found that 42% of respondents said that they are less likely to acquire a car in the next few years as a result of using Zipcar. And Car2Go, today Share Now, found that over 50% of car sharing members use it to be vehicle owners. And this is not crazy, this is obvious. If you have good alternatives that cost you less and is comfortable enough, what are the benefits of owning a car? I'm not saying there are no exceptions. Private cars will still be required, for sure. We have families, people living in rural areas. I am an example of it. I do own a car. What I'm saying is that it is possible and necessary to reduce it. Also, cars are a very inefficient transportation mode for too many reasons to count. They take up huge amounts of space, but get driven around mostly empty, around 1.5 person per car per ride. A lot of the time, people drive distance that they are short enough to easily walk or drive. It's interesting because the same research that I mentioned before made by Car2Go demonstrated that their customers drive approximately 70% less than they did when they were vehicle owners. Crazy, right? I had the chance to be sometimes in Luxembourg last year, and I was surprised to see what is going on there today. Commutes in Luxembourg have become drastically longer in recent years. In 2015, the average commute for employees in Luxembourg took about 32 minutes. In 2018, the number of minutes the average employee takes has more than doubled to 79 minutes. How can you keep stress levels under control? Tough, right? And what is incredible about Luxembourg is that 43% of the working force is from cross-border commuters. Imagine almost half of the country coming every day from different countries to the same direction. It is a particular, interesting, and chaotic scenario. According to Florian Weyer, Director of Transport and Mobility for the region, train and bus service are at the maximum capacity. The situation of traffic there is so bad that it became good, at least for some pockets. In a desperate trial to control its traffic situation, Luxembourg is offering free public transportation, but didn't Florian mention that their services are at their maximum capacity? So I'm really curious to know how this is going to look like in the coming months. But let me use the opportunity to discuss some feasible solutions that don't require new investments or infrastructure. What if we share? This time, I'm not going to talk about my point of view or Wunder's point of view. Let's talk about a good reference for you to understand how huge the impact of shared mobility can be for citizens. The World Economic Forum launched the Global New Mobility Coalition. They believe that it's possible to reduce passenger mobility emissions by 95% through combining shared, electric, and autonomous mobility. These technologies can also improve mobility efficiency by 70%, while decreasing commuting costs by 40%. With this mobility approach, it is possible to reduce the number of vehicles from the projected 2.1 billion to 0.5 billion, and carbon emissions from 4,600 to less than 700 megatons by 2050, while also accounting for increasing mobility demand. But we don't need to wait for autonomous vehicles to be all around or invest in electric vehicles today to have an impact. Shared mobility platforms are available today. They are available now. According to the University of California, one shared car can replace between 9 to 13 vehicles, and 25% of car-sharing users sold a vehicle, while other 25% decided to postpone a vehicle purchase. Also, one household sharing a vehicle can reduce up to 0.84 tons of CO2 emission per year and reduce up to 43% the vehicle miles traveled. And what is interesting about this research is that more car-sharing users increased their overall public transit and non-motorized modal use. That means that they started to walk, bike, use last mile solutions, etc. And as a bonus, they saved between $154 and $435 per month. And that's why at Wunder, we truly believe that sharing is the best alternative to use the assets that are currently available to impact the world with mobility today. Let me share a short video with you that will help you to understand a bit of what we've been working on and how we plan to change the world with mobility.
We built this road, this van, and these buildings. This car, that bus, those trains. We built big things and small things to solve big problems and small problems, to make us more mobile. But with a growing population, our solutions face new unforeseen challenges. Our roads are becoming gridlocked, our buildings are harder to reach, and our buses and trains are being overused every single day. That's why we use our experience to create technology that addresses these problems by connecting mobility at all levels, so you can arrive at your destination. We create the technology today that will keep mobility moving forward, because we share tomorrow.
In short, we help business all over the world to stay ahead of the game and to prosper in the road of new mobility. Let me try to put the presentation back. These are some of the platforms that we are offering today, but you will not see our name all around. We are a B2B company, white labeling mobility solutions to companies all over the world. Now, imagine if Luxembourg had a carpooling app for its cross-border commuters, matching people that live and work in the same region and are going to work and back home at the same time. Just an idea. But as you can see, we are not limited to peer-to-peer carpool. We have a white label shuttle solution, vehicle sharing, smart parking, a dashboard for cities to connect its operators and understand commuters' patterns. So if you plan to launch a new mobility service and you could not find it on this list, feel free to contact me because I'm quite sure that a new platform was launched while I was talking to you. Just kidding. But in fact, we do have now Wunder to help car rental companies to become digital and offer keyless solutions. And we also launched a couple weeks ago Wunder Vehicles, offering connected vehicles in partnerships with the most reliable manufacturers in the world. And we also allow companies to even choose the company's colors and icons for the vehicles before, offering literally a seamless end-to-end solution to our partners. We are currently operating in over 100 cities on 6 continents to power over 100,000 vehicles worldwide. And these are some of our stars. Partners that understand that it's possible and necessary to act now. If your logo is missing, don't worry, just contact me and let's fix this problem. Against facts, there are no arguments. Concerns that sharing schemes do not deliver a net reduction in car use are not supported by the overwhelming majority of the evidence that shows that. Ride-sharing apps do reduce the number of vehicles on the road and vehicles kilometers driven, but as importantly, also encourage a behavioral shift towards multimodal sustainable transport, which complement public and active forms of transport, such as cycling and walking. Car sharing schemes, whether point-to-point or free-floating, also lead to reduced car ownership, with studies indicating 5 to 15 cars being replaced for each shared car added to a new fleet. Once again, the impact will always vary according to the cities and schemes. To make it possible, we need to ease and accelerate the transition to shared mobility service. Just then, the legacy of car domination will be progressively erased. The technology is ready, and I'd be pleased to discuss ways of impacting society and reduce traffic with new mobility service today. Get ready to take a screenshot now, and let's get in touch. I think that now it's time for Q&A, so see you soon. Thank you.